Hi everybody, this is Blossom, and today I have another tarot deck for you, this time the Victorian Fairy Tarot. And I wanted to do this walkthrough already a while ago, but I didn't come around to it, but now I have a bit of time, so I'm going to show you the cards. So before I go into the cards, this is what you get. So you have a pretty nice guidebook here. As you can see, I will show you more about that later. You have, of course, your cards, and it comes in this box, which is, if I'm really honest, not that great, but yeah, well, whatever. So this deck is by Lunea Weatherstone and art by Gary A. Lippincott. Sorry when I pronounce that wrong. So this is the box. You may know this kind of box, so it's not really a box where you want to keep your cards or your book in. As you know, I don't care too much about that, but for the other people who like to keep it in boxes, it's not a great one. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So here we see 28 or $29, so I think for that price it should still, you know, have a better box, but that's just me, and it's a mini complaint. Yeah, as I say, I actually don't care too much about that. Now let's go into the cards. So as always, I first want to go into the cards, show you the cards, but I will talk a bit about the book too. Here you can see the back. I think it's beautifully done. Yeah, so let's check the first card already. And here you can see the Fool. And as the book states, this is the only human being that you will see in this deck. And yeah, it really takes you into the world of fairy. So I was thinking about this deck for a very long time because I really like the idea of having another fairy tarot, but Victorian fairies are not really right up my alley. But I had a look at them for a while online. I read a few reviews, I saw the images, and yes, I was intrigued. The artwork for this deck is really stunning. I love it. There's so much detail in it. It's made with love, and I find it absolutely stunning. So there are some ideas that I don't like when it comes, but that is Victorian fairy. So, and still I think it was good for me to give this tarot deck a chance. I absolutely love it. Then we come to the Conjurer, which would be the magician traditionally, and here we see all the seasons. So we have autumn, summer, spring and winter. That's what you can see, and I love that idea. So during the deck you will see later that they use the seasons for the suits. So we have spring, summer, autumn and winter instead of cups, wands, pentacles and swords. The Seeress for the High Priestess. I adore her. I think it's gorgeous, this card. And when you have a closer look, you see how a piece of the mushroom is missing. So did she eat this? And yeah, I think it's stunning, this card. Then we have the Empress, which I really like, with the little children around her, and she's more in that ruler aspect, which is interesting too. It's not so much about Mother Earth. It really depends. Some people like that, some don't, but we still have the green drapes behind to represent the green color of earth and fertility. And she also has a few green elements in her dress. Then the next card, the Emperor. Again, we're surrounded by children. Nice idea. Then for the Hierophant we have the Vicar. So I honestly was hoping for something else because it's fairies, but of course it's, like I said, it's Victorian fairies, and yeah, so we have a different take on fairy there. It's lovingly represented. It's really like the elder teaching a bit, telling stories, everybody is listening. It's still lovely made. I just wouldn't have called it the Vicar, but you know, just not a big deal. Then we have the Fairy Bride. It says in the book, the motive of the fairy bride who marries a mortal and brings him into her realm symbolizes surrendering to the power of true love and the equal relationships that such love bestows. For the Victorians, marriage was for a lifetime. For the immortal fairies, it was literally forever. To join with the beloved in the hope of eternal love is a choice not to be undertaken lightly. So we have that aspect of choice definitely in the Lovers card. And it also talks about the flower, so that is something I should mention too. So we have in every card a certain kind of flower. And here, for example, we have forget-me-nots, myrtle and bridal roses, and they are all symbolic of deep and abiding love in the language of flowers. So that is incorporated in every card as well. Sorry. And then we have the Chariot. I think that's beautifully done as well. We have the magpie here, and yeah, they are flying. And there's really, you really see that movement in that card, tempo, and sorry about that. Try to adjust the light better. So I think it's a lovely representation. Then we have Fortitude, which is absolutely lovely. Sorry, I think I say that too often now already. And here in the book it says, a fairy beekeeper sits among her flock, communing with them and caring for their needs. Although the bees have the potential to harm her, she knows they never will. She is in her element, her skill as a caregiver for these productive creatures blending perfectly with their skill as a honeymakers for the fairy community. The honey is drawn from red clover and flower whose symbolic meaning is industry. Both the bees and beekeeper are deeply happy in their work with the happiness that comes from knowing they are using the strength they were born with. This is their fort, their true purpose. The fairy may have had to summon up her courage at first to work with the bees. It takes strength to subdue fear and follow your heart's desire. But being in a state of fortitude means knowing you will blossom when you are serving your gifts. So I think that is beautifully done for the strength card. It's really something different, and I really like that. I really like to see different takes on the cards. Now, the Hermit. Oh my god, I love the Hermit card. So many of you know the Hermit is my absolute favorite card. And this is so perfect. So I mentioned once in one of my videos that all I need is an old dude with a beard and a lantern. That's what we have, but we have so much more. He is in his tree and he's studying, and we still have the owl here to represent wisdom. I absolutely love that. And he is in an oak tree. And it says in the book that solitude is essential for this fairy, as he immerses himself in the pursuit of understanding, and that he is a poet, and his goal is to make his life a poem, even if he is the only one to hear it. And I love that aspect. A lot of the things I write and I do, nobody else will ever see them. I have so much in planning right now, but it's just for me. So I absolutely love that. Then we have the Wheel of Time instead of the Wheel of Fortune. And again, we see how the seasons are represented here. So the seasons are very important, and so is nature, of course, in this deck. Then we have for Justice the Magistrate. I would have preferred to see another card or something else for the Justice card. But what saves it for me is that he wears no shoes. There we go. Oh my god, I love that one. So here we have the Hanging Fairy for the Hanged Man. And he is surrounded by poppies. And I absolutely adore that. So we know in the area, in the Victorian area, opium was a thing. And yeah, of course, then we have poppies. In this card it says that he struggled at first to break free. The poppy's seductive essence wove itself into its consciousness and he surrendered to its embrace. His mind is now open to visions beyond even the keen sight of fairies. And then it talks about amazed and wondering, the Hanging Fairy surrenders to the play of imagination that has overtaken him. But it also says that he cannot remain entangled in the web of dreams forever, but when he makes his way back to his everyday life, he will be changed. Something new will have seeded itself in his mind, and as surely as the poppy seeds will bloom again. He will never look at life the same ways as before. I absolutely adore that. Then we come to Death, and in general, I say this deck, I find it very gentle, and the images are very loving and caring and gentle, definitely. But it doesn't, it still shows you the images you need to see. And here, death is definitely depicted. In many tarot decks, death now is just transformation. And it is depicted as something else, but here we clearly see death, and I like that it doesn't shy away from it. Even though, I know the meaning can be transformation, but to transform, something has to die first, and here we see that, and they are very sad. It's sad because the birdie died, Oh my god, so here's Temperance. Oops, sorry. So, this is actually where I said, okay, I'm going to buy this now. Here we see Absinthe. And and we have the Green Fairy that is often related to Absinthe, the Green Fairy, Again, this is a drink that was a very popular drink during the Victorian era. It's very much forgotten now. But I have to admit that I started to drink it a few months ago, and I love it. It's really I don't know. I didn't drink alcohol before, and or very little, just like once a year, something like that. It's like celebrating this drink because it takes a while to make it as well. You really have to temper it, because you take just a little bit of absinthe and then like 1 piece of absinthe and then 6 pieces of water, of ice cold water, and then it turns into a very lovely milky green liquid. And this card is a reminder not to overdo it in that case. So, for example, for the divination meaning, when we go away from the description here, it says, to be temperate doesn't mean to be stead or lacking in daring and creativity. Revelations can inspire genius, but discipline and moderation bring them into manifestation. Don't go too far in one direction or another. Spurning all glimpses of magical inspiration is just as damaging as indulging to the point of destruction. There we go. Whoopsie. Now, the Devil, we have the Goblin Market. So, for those who don't know, the Goblin Market is a poem written by Christina Rossetti. And it's a long read, but you can't find it. If you Google Goblin Market, you will find her poem. Again, Christina Rossetti. I love the goblin sitting there. It's so beautifully done. Then we have the burning oak for the tower. So that often happens in fairy decks or more pagan decks or, you know, nature-based decks. So we have that here, the burning oaks, oak. And we see how they are all, you know, they have to leave the place at night. They're still in their pajamas. It's not the right word, but I don't know the other word now. Yeah, and it's happened in the middle of the night, completely unexpected, and they have to leave their oak. Poor, poor fairies. Then we have the star, which is beautiful again. So it's just a beautiful card. Then we have the moon. So we have moonflowers and lunar moth in that card. And she's sleeping, and she's on her path into dreamland. Then we have the Sun card, and it's a very Beltane feeling. I have, like the Tarot of the She, it has that Beltane feeling as well. I love that we have that huge sunflower and they're dancing around with the ribbons, like with the maypole. It gives you a very, yeah, just a very happy feel. And then we have Awakening for the Judgment card. And I absolutely adore this card. Again. Yeah, I really love them. Let me read for this because it's again a bit different and it's renamed. So a young fairy has paused, caught by his reflection in the still water. He has been wandering all night, fretful and lost in confusion, uncertain of his place in the world, his misdeeds haunting him. With the coming of the dawn, he feels his mind clearing, the spiderwebs of delusion blowing away in the fresh water. It is as if he truly sees himself for the first time. All at once, the fairy has the courage to think of his own faults and failings. It is an epiphany, a moment of enlightenment. As the fairy faces himself with the eyes wide open, he is who he is, and he must embrace that. If he is to be at peace. I think that's a beautiful message for this card. And then we have the last card of the major, the World card. And here we see the fairy dancing in the fairy ring, and beyond we see the mortal realm, the world of the humans. And in the book it says that we can choose now. Do we stay in fairy, or do we go back home? Or do we want to become a walker between the worlds? And again, I think that is beautiful. Now, let's go to the minor arcana. As always, I start with the swords. In this case, it is winter. And here we have the Ace of Swords. It actually starts with spring in the book, but makes me nervous to have that difference. So I absolutely love the use of the seasons here. Here we have the Two of Winter, or the Two of Swords. It's a bit of a twist and turn. Like, it's different than I read the Two of Swords, but you know, I go with it. Why not? Then this happens again with the Three of Swords, or Three of Winter here. And yeah, so you get the feel of gossiping. And when in her book, she also has a section where it's just said in a nutshell. And there she says, melodrama, shallowness, gossip, and backstabbing. Which for me personally is not that wrong for this card. I'm sure not everybody agrees on that, and a lot of people will read the Three of Swords differently. But for me, it's a lot of melodrama often, because it's something that we produce ourselves, in my opinion. But I know that a lot of people read it differently. That's absolutely okay. For me, it depends very much on the reading with the surrounding cards, what is the theme. But I just want to say I get where she's coming from. So this might not be everybody's favorite Three of Swords or Three of Winter. Then we have the Four of Winter, which is very clear. Here it says sanctuary in times of trouble, a temporary peace. It's lovely, lovely, absolutely. Then this is a card I don't like at all, with 4 of swords or 5, with 5 of winter. Oh dear. So here we have, you know, they tormented poor hedgehogs. I don't like that at all, but I know in the Victorian era, there are more pictures where fairies are cruel to animals, which makes, in my understanding, no sense, but it is the Victorian era, so. And he talks about, of course, unfair fight, lack of ethics or honor, and bullying. And you know, you clearly see that in the picture, so. Even though I don't like the picture itself, it's clear what's happening. Then we have the 6 of winter, and it's very wintry. I think it's a beautiful picture. Then we have the 7 of winter, or the 7 of swords. And here it says someone is trying to pull a fast one to get away with something by cheating or outright theft, or perhaps you are the one whose action needs addressing. Sometimes villains try to justify their misdeeds by claiming they are just settling the score, as the fairy stealing milk is re-stealing something that has already been stolen. But as we all know, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Again, this is not exactly how I read the 7 of swords, but it's often really, it depends on the position, of course. It's an interesting take, and it's still a beautiful picture. Then we have the 8 of winter, where it says lack of direction, victimization. Yeah, well, she is definitely tangled up. We can see that. Then we have the 9 of winter. And then we have the 10 of winter. I'm not really sure about this card. But it's interesting what she writes in the book. If this card is drawn in answer to a question about a future choice, the answer is clear: don't disturb the badger. Now, then we come to the court cards, and the first one, so the page, we always have a herald, and they are the announcers of the season, so I really like that. Then we have the Knight of Winter. And you get the feeling, so they all have grey hair, I guess. Let me see, yeah. So, here we have the Knight of Winter, and then we go to the Queen of Winter. I absolutely love the Queen of Winter. So I relate strongly to the Queen of Swords. I absolutely adore her depiction. And we have the King of Winter as well. And then we go already into the spring. Hello, this is now. Please, spring, come. I'm waiting for spring for so long. So spring in this case are the wands. So I would have put wands to summer and cups to spring, but they did it in reserve. So here we have wands with the spring. The ace, beautifully done. Then we have the 2 of spring. Absolutely adore that fairy, just drawing what he, I'm not very sure, she sees. I just got that yesterday, this card. Beautiful, absolutely adore that. Then we have a similar card with the 3 of springs, but here we see that he plays the harp. And both, of course, are about your creativity. Then we have the 4 of spring, celebrations inside. Again, something I would prefer fairies have to celebrate outside, but as it is the Victorian fairies. Then we have the 5 of spring, just a very lovely card. We have the leprechauns dancing, and well, not dancing, but well, some of them, you know, it's a very friendly competition what they do, so nothing too serious. Then the 6 of spring, and here it says that this depicts the fairies crown their May Queen, who reigns for just one day and then offers her crown in homage to the Queen of Summer. I always like when we have the Six of Wands to show that it's just temporary. You know, I like that because you have that high, but that will not last forever and you have to think about what you do next. I do like that. It's just me. Then we have the Seven of Spring. Oh my god, I love that so much, that card. Here we see the gardener defends his plot and that he has an advantage as the birds cannot get to the ground as long as the fairy is present. I think it's well done. Then we also have the Eight of Spring. Bow shooting, that is perfect, I think. I actually just started bow shooting again. I really love that now. To see that in the card again. I look more or less the same, not knowing what I'm doing. Then we have the Nine of Spring, which is again an interesting take on it. So for example, here for the divination meaning it says, this is an excellent time to pursue excellence. Recognize your gifts and use them to the fullest in the interest of something you love. Add to your knowledge and offer it to others who share your passions. The thing that captures your attention and holds it over time is your true calling. You are ready to be a master in your chosen field. And yeah, that's just another take on the card, which I really like when I just think about, you know, the number and the element of fire. This is a beautiful take on it. Then we have the Ten of Spring, where we see again, you know, taking on too much, overload, multitasking, creative burnout even. And then we come to the court cards with the Herald of Spring, and he announces the coming of the spring. So, and his keywords are playfulness and enthusiasm, curiosity, a welcome message. We can definitely see that, even the colors, and he is very playful. We can see that he's dancing, he's having a good time. Then the Knight of Spring, or Knight of Cups, on his bunny. So he's depicted as an energetic explorer. And his flower is Pyrrhus japonica, also known as the fairy fire, whose message is temptation. In this case, the temptation is to see what is over the next hill and the next and then the next. Nice card. Then we have the Queen of Spring, and I like that they are not sitting, but no, she dances around. Same with the King of Spring, he's not sitting on his throne, he cannot sit still, you know, he's up. I love that. Now into the Cups, or into the season of summer with the Ace. So we have, in the guidebook it says, the emblem of the summer court is the water lily, whose meaning is, in the language of flower, is purity of heart. Nice. Then we have the Two of Summer. Lovely depiction with the wild strawberries and two fairies in a boat. Very romantic. Very, very nice. Three of Summer. Here the fairies play in the water. It's about playfulness, happiness, the delights of companionships. But not just, you know, with the humans, but the birds are coming too. They play with. Then we have the Four of Summer. So here it says that this young ferryman can't find the joy. He's bored and cynical, filled with ennui. He lies on the warm mossy stones and can't be bothered to change his sullen mood. And it's in the divination meaning, it says, has life lost its sparkle? Even among the fairies, sometimes that even in fairies not much happens, and that there can be dissatisfaction with daily routine, and it can indicate a need to break free of its pattern. Then we have the Five of Summer. And I know a lot of times the Five of Summer is crying over spilled milk, which is again here in the keywords for this card. And you know, it seems like it's not a big deal because it's just a sand castle. But just imagine, just imagine, she spent probably a whole day building this. And everything is so carefully planned and everything is very exact and it's beautifully done and she decorated it. But she didn't saw that one thing, that flow is coming. That's the one thing she missed to integrate in her planning. And now everything is gone. And I think we can very easily say something like, yeah, well, get over it. But no, I would be so upset if that would happen to me. So here it says, something has disappointed you or not turned out the way you hoped. A sense of loss and of time wasted in fruitless effort may be overwhelming you. It may be helpful to look for what is still left rather than focusing on what didn't succeed. The fairy had a great day before the tide came in. Okay, that's how you say tide. Sorry about the other thing, I didn't know that. And a day of happiness in the sunshine can't be taken away no matter what happens afterwards. But still, you know. Then we have the Six of Summer. Again, beautiful picture. Then moving to the next, the Seven of Summer, or the Seven of Cups. And it's about choices, confusion, an overabundance of possibilities. And she's trying on so many hats and she cannot decide. Absolutely not decide which one to buy. Then we have the Eight of Summer. I like that one too. I always see the Eight of Cups or the Eight of Summer, you know, going to something higher when everything becomes a bit dull. So that you want to reach higher and you want to have more meaning in your life. Then we have the Nine of Summer, lovely card. Another one that I've got just yesterday or the day before yesterday. Then we have the Ten of Summer. Ah, that's so beautiful. The scenery and it are so beautifully done. I would love to have, you know, a full picture, a full frame picture of one of those cards. Have to look up the artist really. So we all know the Ten of Cups. Joy, heartfelt love of all kinds, a time of fulfillment. And then the Herald, who announces the summer. And she looks dreamy, doesn't? The colors are very dreamy and kind of innocent. And the keywords, emotional sensitivity, appreciation for beauty, wonder, and a longed for message. Then we have the Knight of Summer with a wild rose, and the message in the language of flowers is ambassador of love and following his heart. Then we have the Queen of Summer, and she's very relaxed and laid back. She enjoys the beauty. She looks at the flowers that are surrounding her. The same we have with the King of Summer. When we put it next to each other. So when we put it next like that to each other, they're facing each other actually. Very dreamy, very, yeah, love that. And now we come to the last round, the last suit. We go into autumn, and here we have the apple with the pentacle in it. And it talks about that this is a time when things that have only existed in your imagination and your hopes can find manifestation. And I like that we have the apple and the oak together. That is well done. As oak also talks about stability. So it's like a beginning of stability. Then we have the Two of Autumn, which is lovely. So it's balancing, definitely. Juggling too many tasks. I don't know if it's gonna end well, because, yeah, I don't know. Looks dangerous to me. Then we have the Three of Pentacles, or Three of Autumn. And then we definitely see how the card depicts the cooperation working together for a common goal. Then we have the Four of Autumn. He's not going to give his nuts away. And the squirrel doesn't seem too happy about it. She's like really angry looking squirrel, I think. Yeah, and the keywords are poverty, consciousness, selfishness, fear of loss, and money worries. Then the Five of Autumn. I think that's beautifully done as well. So they are so close to join the others, but they just don't go there, because there they have everything they need. There's food, they have companions, and they could really use food probably, and you know, just a warm fire, but they didn't go there. It's kind of their own choice. And this card talks about not to lock yourself into a victim role. Then we have the Six of Autumn. And here it says, this fairy lady is suffering from a torn wing. She has come to a wise healer who applies a soothing poultice of comfrey leaves. The virtue is in the plant itself, but also in the tender touch of the older fairy gives. And further it says that she could have purchased the herbs and treated the ailment herself, but she is opening up to receive help from another. She's caring for her spirit as well as her body. Again, a beautiful, sorry, I say that too often now. And here we have the Seven of Autumn. And it says, don't be impatient or rush something to completion that should take more time. And I really, you know, this is my card of the year. I did my Wheel of the Year reading, or my year ahead reading, with the Fairy Tarot, with the Victorian Fairy Tarot, and this is my card of the year, Seven of Autumn. And it also says, keep focus on the task at hand, not the distant goal. But I love, yeah, it's a very good depiction, I think, for the Seven of Pentacles, because that is just, it takes time, you know. There's nothing you can do. At some point you did all your work, and then you have to wait and see how it turns out. And then we have the Eight of Autumn, which is beautiful. Building instruments, you know, that's definitely a master skill, mastering a craft. Practice makes perfect. And it says that it's wonderful to feel, that it's a wonderful feeling to take pride in your work. All the time you need to master this craft is time well spent and rewarding in itself. Then we have the Nine of Autumn, which is, yeah, we still have the lady with the bird, but the meaning is a bit different. Let me read it to you. Some of your most contented moments are when you are alone in your own nest. There are sacrifices in choosing to be solitary, and loneliness can be the price paid for freedom. But if this is what your spirit is longing for, don't deny yourself this time apart, even from those you love. It takes a strong character to find a healthy balance between solitude and society. And then the keywords: independence, happiness in solitude, taking care of yourself. I would not focus too much on this, I don't know. Depends on the reading, of course. Then we have Ten of Autumn. This was a card I got a lot during the last weeks and months more. Ten of Pentacles. I really like this one. It's beautiful. I always get lost in all the details, you know. I look, what's up there, what is there, what is there, what's happening here. I really love all the details in this card. Yeah. So, and here again the Page of Pentacles, or the Herald of Autumn, who announces autumn. Beautifully done. We of course have all the autumn colors. Knight of Autumn, who stands atop his companion tortoise. I love when they actually have The Bonfire Tarot does that too. The Knight of Pentacles, or here the Knight of Autumns with a tortoise to show how slow he can be. I really like that. But he has a good position there because he has a very good position to oversee a project. Then we have the Queen of Autumn with also an animal friend, which is absolutely adorable. And then we have the Knight of Autumn, which, oh no, I forgot his name. He looks like, I want to say Gimli, because I don't know his name now. Sorry about that. But he looks like him. Yeah, definitely. But I like him very much. And I love, what I really like about this deck is in all the representations of fairy, we don't just have the beautiful, beautiful fairies. We have all ages, we have all shapes and forms. So that I definitely like. It's something else, because I have mostly, when I have fairy decks, it's of course all the beautiful fairies, which is absolutely not wrong. But here we have a bit more variety. Now let's have a look at the book. So here you can see the book. I have to reach through the tripod, which I did it wrong today, but I started and now I don't want to. Yeah, so here are the contents. So yeah, the major arcana, the minor arcana, and spreads. Afterward, why believe in fairies, and then the language of flowers. We come to that. We have, of course, an introduction about the Victorians and how they saw fairies. And then some facts about fairies, whatever you call facts when you work with fairies. So, can the fairies fly? Are all fairies very small? Are the fairies immortal? And then, yeah, just the structure of a deck, which is just the structure of the tarot deck. It's probably for somebody who is absolutely new to tarot interesting. And about reversals, I think she does not use reversals. Okay, the Victorian Fairy Tarot was intended to be read upright, exactly. But you can do what you want, the care and feeling of your deck. There we go. And then we come already into the book. I've read already a few things, so I don't think I have to do that again. The full, how it is built up is, we have, of course, the title of the card. We have a black and white depiction, bigger than the card itself. And then we have always a little quote or little poem or whatever for every card. Let me see. Not that I say something wrong. No, we don't have it for the minors, just for the majors. Then we have a description of the card, which is nice. You know, it really goes into what you see on the deck. So if you have a guidebook, please tell me, what do I see and why do I see it? You know, for guidebooks. And then we have a short divination meaning, and then in a nutshell, so just a few keywords. Now this is, I really like the book, the guidebook, but it's of course not in depth. It's the divination meaning itself, it's very short, and yeah. But that's like fully okay. I'm just saying, if somebody is like, this is the first deck, you will not get an in-depth text about the card. But you know, that's personal preference. Some like that, some don't. So I really do enjoy to read. You know, I really like, why is that on the card? I want to know, describe me a little bit about the image. Why did you do that? Or what were your thoughts behind that? And that's what's happening here. So I'm completely happy with that. Now, We have the same amount, just without the little poem for that. And then we have the appendix with the language of flowers. So that's lovely. So we have the flowers that we see in the card, and then just 1 or 2 keywords to describe what it means. So that's nice too. And we also have, of course, the spreads that I missed now. I'm rushing now because my battery is empty. I have to load up. 1 card reading. Then we have a seasonal spread. So we have 3 cards for spring, 3 cards for summer, 3 cards for autumn, and 3 cards for winter. Now we are in spring, so the seed, what is stirring deep within, the sprout, what is emerging, and the tender blossom, what needs nurturing. So this is just your 3 card spread. That's a very nice take on it, because for every season we have different questions. Then we have Titania's Dream, just one, which is a very nice spread. And also the Dance of Happiness spread. I'm very intrigued to do that, and as you know, I always do a sample reading, so I may choose that one. I try to do it quick, don't worry. Yeah, the length, we had that. Why believe in fairies? We live in cynical times. We do. So that's all I say about that. So that's why we need to believe in fairies, because we live in cynical times. I think that's just about enough. And yeah, I will load up my battery now, and then I will do a reading. So that gives me plenty of time to shuffle, but you know, when you just bring them in order, it takes forever. The only thing I wanted to show, I did edge the cards golden. That is not how they come. Of course they are white, but I made them golden. There we go. I like it very much. And yeah, see you soon then. Okay, I'm back. And I shuffled my cards. I chose the cards already. And well, I pulled the cards. But I haven't seen them yet. But this is the layout, as you can see in the book here. And I will show you the position. So 1 and 2. 1 is le mouchoir entortillé, the twisted handkerchief. What is worrying you? Number 2, le miroir, the mirror. Sorry, the mirror. How does your self-image affect your happiness? Then we have card number 3, right here. Les masques, the mask. What role do others play in your happiness? Then number 4, right here. Les mains mystérieuses, the mysterious hands. What gift is offered to assist you? Then card number 5, sorry, right here. Les bras entrelacés, the arms entwined. Who is supporting you? Then number 6, le rond trompeur, the deceiving circle. What is not as it seems? Then we have number 7, what is l'allée tournante, the winding alley. What is the next step you can take toward happiness? Then number 8, right here, le rond final, the final round. What will happiness look like when it comes? Now I think I will bring them forward. It's a bit far away because it takes a bit, bit of room. So let's see. All right, I think that's okay. So you see, I turned them over already because I was so curious. So the first card, what is worrying you? And there we have the 2 of winter. I think it's really interesting that the title is, that the question is actually the twisted handkerchief, and what we see in this card is the handkerchief right here. So this is before he drops the handkerchief that the duel can begin, but Of course, it does not make actually sense because he doesn't see that when the handkerchief drops. Now, what is worrying you? With the Two of Swords, usually it's kind of that, do I listen to my mind, or to my thoughts, or do I listen to my heart? And this is this is actually fitting because that's like an ongoing thing. I guess with many people. But really right now at this moment, my heart tells me something completely different than my mind. And I don't know really where to go with it. And I feel like here in this scene, both their minds tell them that they have to do this duel now. Even though nobody will fully win or gain something of it except for honor or whatever. Sorry, that's one of the doggies scratching. So following your heart would be actually the better idea because, okay, so you may miss out of some kind of honor, whatever, but it's not really that important because when you really do the duel, the risks are pretty high that you will get hurt, injured, or even die. So just not having honor seems like the better option. Definitely. And it's the idea of just doing nothing, just go away for a while from that situation. And it's kind of worrying about nothing because it will just not have that major impact if I just don't do nothing. Sorry, I try to keep it shorter. Now, number 2, we have how does your self-image affect your happiness? And then we have the Six of Winter, which is interesting again, because the Six of Winter is, of course, always a bit going away, but it's also that something. The self-image, I do restrict myself with so many, with too many things, which definitely have an effect on my own happiness. And I should just let go of those restrictions. Also knowing that it is okay when I'm just leaving a situation behind, like in the first card, you know. Because the world will not stop turning because of that. Everything will go, and I'm probably gonna make more progress than I think. It's also kind of a bit of like healing, the idea of healing behind it, you know, healing your thoughts, your minds by leaving everything behind. So the constant negative thoughts that I'm having about myself needs kind of a healing, and I need to step back from those from that, of course. Let's move to the next one. So I'm probably going to edit that out anyway. Now, not because I said it. So number 3, oh, interesting, okay. All right. So what was the sorry, that's not right. There we go. So the question was, number 3, what roles do others play in your happiness? Interesting, I have the 9 of Summer. That is not a bad card. Like I mentioned before, it's not so much about wishing this time. And what I think with the 9 of Cups here, it's others do. I say that now in the big picture, that others don't have influence on my happiness, because I'm fully able to find my happiness within myself, and I make my own happiness. I'm not dependent on others to be happy, even though, you know, I know with family, friends, of course they are part of it, of course, but like I said, I'm not depending on others to find that happiness. Then, as I want to move quickly, I go here. What gift is offered to assist you? And then we have the Burning Oak. Well, okay, let's don't see it as dramatic. I think the next time something happens, you know, you just have to to think that, yeah, it's a blessing in disguise, kind of a wake-up call. And yeah, what I like, because I am somebody who is very able to rebuild again. So even if my faith or anything is like kind of shattered, anything, I'm able to very quickly rebuild. And I'm also, you know, it does not always have to be that big moment, because I even do rebuild and I'm also break up old patterns when necessary. I know very good how to leave the old behind. And this is probably just, you know, a gift given to me. Yeah, so mostly it's just a breaking free. Okay, so the next cards. There we have number 5, who is supporting you? I think that this is really interesting to have the world, and because I talked about how to be a walker between the worlds. And so it depends if you have never seen videos of me before and you just came by to watch this walkthrough, you don't know my work with fairy, but I do work a lot with fairy. And yeah, so that's actually then interesting, because it reminds me immediately that the fairies have my back, you know, it's all right, it's good. And I am the walker between the worlds of the well, not real, but the world of humans and the world of fairy. And it's all good, because I know it's that ongoing cycle. Now, the next card, number 6, what is not as it seems? And there I have the 4 of winter, or 4 of swords. And right now this is interesting for me, because I am like a bit of in the mindset like I would take a break, and like I would have a pause and just taking a step back, but it's not really what I'm doing, which was of course suggested by the first 2 cards, that I just really need to take that step back and just come into a mind state of not doing anything, and then nothing happens. And I'm still thinking, I was talking about how the 7 of Pentacles is my card of the year, but I am not there yet. I'm still pushing a lot, pushing myself a lot, trying to do more and more and more, but this will probably not bring me the results. So I really have to step back into that mindset of taking just a pause and allowing myself to rest my mind for a little bit. Then the next cards. Alright, so number 7 was what is the next step you can take toward happiness? Oh, and we have fortitude, that lovely strength card. Yeah, so this is all about gathering my courage to do really what I feel called to do. So it needs a bit of courage, and I know exactly what this card is talking about. I won't go into detail now, because, you know, doing these readings at the end of a walkthrough, the video is already very long, so I can't go too much into detail, but however, I know exactly what it's talking about. So gathering my courage to do something that is really important to my life and that is really my call. Yeah, there we go. That's what I say now. And then we have the last card, the final round. What will happiness look like when it comes? And there we have, oh my god, the Herald of Summer. So this would be the Page of Cups. And this is such a lovely card, and it's an energy that I'm right in now. Yeah, that's actually beautiful. I even have it for the Wheel of the Year. It's coming when it was for Imbolc and Spring Equinox, that energy, but that time between that. So that's really wonderful. And yeah, of course, for me, that's always that creativity, that young, innocent creativity where you just do without thinking about how the end result looks like. You don't worry about that too much, and this is beautiful. So if I follow the advice of letting go a bit and letting my mind rest and just not do nothing, not in the sense of doing nothing, just laying around and do nothing anymore, but not to over worry about and to push too much, but letting it flow naturally through me. So this is what my end result, or my final round, my happiness will look like. There we go. I hope that was quick enough. So yeah, as you see, this is just a beautiful deck, in my opinion, and I'm sure some people will agree with me. Yeah, so I hope this walkthrough was helpful. And as I said before already in the video, it's such a even if cards like that, it's very gentle healing without covering up any important messages. The artwork is stunning, it's beautiful. I worked with it, well, when I got it, that was like around 4 or 5 months ago. I work with it since then constantly, and I get really great readings out of it. I really enjoy this very much. So thank you so much for watching. I wish you a wonderful day. Much love and blessings, and bye bye.